There's one thing you cannot buy. You can't go back in time. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's nest. So today's video is an exciting one. It's about minimalism and don't declutter your fantasy self. I know this is definitely very controversial. It's been a very controversial topic in the minimalism community because most minimalism videos give you great tips on how to declutter your fantasy self. And I'm like probably the only person I know, the only minimalist I know that strongly stood by that. I have videos, you can definitely check them out on my channel so you guys can see for the past 10 years. That's definitely what I've been like preaching to the high skies, is I refuse to declutter my fantasy self. And given the comments that I've seen in my channel, a lot of you do have strong opinions about that, or have opinions about that, and have asked me like, okay, like you're a minimalist, but like why haven't you decluttered your fantasy self? So I got 6 things that I want to talk about. I have them written down here that I think might offer my perspective on why I have not decluttered my fantasy self as a minimalist. Some of these might resonate with you, might give you some inspiration, some food for thought. I'm not advocating for you to like hang on to your fantasy self, especially if it's toxic and it's making you feel sad, then declutter that. But I'll share what has worked for me in hopes that that might work for you or give you a different perspective on which to look at this. So let's go. Woo. So yeah, let's get into it. So coming in at number 1 is life is short and youth is even shorter. And I don't know if you are younger than me or older than me. I've kind of gotten to a place where like my subscribers are kind of all over the place now. I used to mostly have a younger audience, but now it isn't until you are in the stages of starting to lose youth, then you realize, oh, life is short. And not only that, youth is short. There's a lot of things that are really only appropriate to do when you are young. Get drunk, party, be irresponsible, all that good stuff is really only appropriate in youth. Being reckless and wild and chasing your dreams, yeah, there's only space for that in your youth. So until you're older and you start to see like your face, starts to like fall, you're like, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z. And you might be wondering, well, how did you figure that out at a young age? So I was in English class. I was in grade 12 at the time. How old are you in grade 12? I think you're like 16, 15. I had a teacher, and I still remember this to this day. And that's kind of why I still do what I do, why I'm so like young at heart. He's married now, and he has kids, and he has a car and a dog. And he's like, when he thinks about the best times in his life was when he was in college, having a good time and just living freely and didn't have any material possessions, just literally his backpack and some clothes, and he was like, that was the best time of his life. And I just thought about it, and I was like, I held on to that. I was like, here's a man in his 40s, maybe 50s, I don't know how old he was, and like he was giving me advice. He was like, just like live life. Like you should really cherish your youth. Like you should really cherish your youth. And I didn't really understand. So I'm like, I don't understand, but I'm gonna take his word for it. And actually this statement, life is short and youth is even shorter, actually comes from Alex Hormozi, who's my age. And I was like, somebody who has millions of dollars at their disposal has figured out there's one thing money cannot buy, and you can't go back in time. And I hope that can really kind of sink in, especially if you're a minimalist or if you're deep in the minimalism lifestyle. You really need to truly understand. And I don't know how much, there's one thing in this whole minimalism, decluttering your lifestyle, declutter your whatever. Once you're done, you might realize it. And I don't know how long you'll be stuck in the decluttering cycle before you wake up and you realize time is ticking. I don't know what you're waiting for. Like if you're waiting for permission, if you're waiting for right conditions, like I don't know, because everyone's minimalism journey is different. And these are things I suffered from. If you are waiting for permission or for certain conditions to live your best life, you don't need them. Just start doing it, man. Just start. Like just do it. Sure, you are not getting younger and you cannot go back in time. And I don't know how much I can like emphasize that as the reason as to why I do what I do, because I kind of realized I was like, now or never, baby. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and time for a quick little commercial break. I want to give a big thanks to Babala bags for partnering with me for today's video. They have generously gifted me 2 items to review, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get to the unboxing. Let's go. Woo. So they have kindly gifted me a cosmetic pouch and a pair of heels to review on my channel. So yeah, they have sent me a cosmetic pouch. And I'm really excited to unbox that because I have one already and I stained it on the plane. So I was like, okay, all right, time to get a new one. Let me just put those down. This is what the box looks like. Let's take off the lid. It comes with a beautiful ribbon that's blue, which is just absolutely stunning. And then on the inside comes with little cards. These are so cute. I'm gonna put this inside of the pouch itself. And then this as well. Wow, that is really bougie. Has all that kind of paperwork if you are into that. Okay, let's unbox the pouch. Ooh, she's kind of stuck. Comes with a dust bag, so you can store it later if you're not using it. Oh my gosh, that is so stunning. So this is in the GM size. I had the petite size, so as you guys know, the petite size is kind of small. Actually, I can show you for a size comparison. This is the petite size and the GM size, and I am loving the extra space of this size. Let's unzip that and open up the inside. Take out the little airbaggy. It has a compartment over here. It has a compartment here where you can put your brushes. Then on the other side, there is the logo patch, and then also another compartment so you can put your stuff in, and it's coated canvas on the inside so you can wipe it down with a damp cloth if anything does spill inside your cosmetic pouch. It has the untreated vachetta on the bottom, which will darken over time. And then there's the zipper, absolutely stunning. And let's unbox the heels. These are so exciting. I usually don't gravitate for a pair of heels like this, but this is so cute. It's like a pair of chandelier shoes. So these are from Rene Calvilla, Italian made. And let's go ahead and open these up. I'm also gonna include B-roll of me wearing them along with the unboxing. It comes with a little card. It also comes with a dust bag, so if you want to store the shoes, you definitely can. So let's go ahead and take these out. These chandelier shoes, wow. How like insane and gorgeous are these? Absolutely stunning. Very beautiful. I put these on, and the height on these was so much fun. I usually go for more of a kitten heel, but it is really fun to have more of like a sexy little heel, which I am definitely wearing these for my birthday. I think that would definitely be the appropriate occasion to wear something like this. As a Libra, you guys know I love pretty things, and oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be rocking something sexy like this on my birthday. I will put down all of Babala's info down in the description box again, and I want to say thank you to Babala Bags for partnering with me. I absolutely love the pouch and the heels, and I also want to say a big thank you to my Cobra babies. None of this would be possible without you guys. If replicas are not your thing, no worries, I can completely respect that, but I did want to share where I am in my life journey. So without further ado, let's continue on with today's regularly scheduled program. Coming in at number 2. Another thing I realized is these things are just seasons. You may be really into whatever your fantasy self is, and then later that won't even be your fantasy self. And I've kind of noticed in the minimalism community that a lot of people feel like, oh well, since it was just a phase, I shouldn't have even have done it in the first place. Which is valid, and that's practical, but like, it's not magical. In my opinion, the whole point of life was to live life in all of its seasons. That's like saying like, cause like, spring and fall and winter are different seasons. Wouldn't it be better if we just had no different seasons? I mean, I guess yeah, but like, isn't that the beauty of life, having different seasons? It's like saying like, since this child won't play with toys when they're an adult, they shouldn't even play with toys as a child. I mean, oh yeah, I guess. Does that logic work? Is that logicking? So for me, that's the other thing that I've accepted, and the reason why I go through seasons is like, it's okay if it's a season. I'm still gonna have my season. Yeah, so I think that if your excuse, if you're deep in minimalism, is that like, well, it's a season, so I'm not even gonna have it, or it's just a trend, so I'm not even gonna do it. Okay, like, I love that for you. Yet here you are commenting on my channel about how like, why haven't I decluttered my fantasy self? I don't know. I'm just happier living in the fantasy. Life's hard enough. Life is boring enough. Life's mundane enough. Why can't I live in the magical aspect of life? So if it's a season, I'm just gonna have my season, and when the season is done, I'm gonna thank it and move on to the next chapter of me life. Okay, coming in at number 4. So it's okay to declutter a fantasy self and try a different fantasy self, and then when you're tired of that, try another one. I know it's very akin to this idea of the season, but like over time, you're gonna start to refine whatever that version of you is, that ideal version of you, you're going to refine it. I have come back and revisited aspects of myself that I've decluttered. Like I've decluttered makeup, brought it back into my life, decluttered it, brought it back into my life. I'm always playing around with that. Same thing with my apparently, according to, what some subscribers like, I don't understand your obsession with luxury. Me either. I've decluttered it too. Brought it back in and decluttered it some more. Same thing with my YouTube channel. There's seasons where I didn't post on my YouTube channel and then I came back to it. Other seasons where I decluttered my minimalism. You guys would see I didn't talk about minimalism at all. I was showing my massive hauls in my year of abundance, and now I'm back to minimalism. And it's like,
how dare you come back? You went shopping for all of 2023 and all of 2024. How dare you come back to minimalism? You're a bad minimalist.
I never claimed to be a good minimalist. I've been claiming myself the black sheep of minimalism since I started my channel. I literally, one of my first videos that went viral was the knapsack video. And I was like, yeah, I hate certain aspects of minimalism. This sucks. And I've been complaining about minimalism the whole way through, like gritting my teeth the whole way through. I had no choice. I had to pay off student loans. But my point being is, it's okay to declutter everything. Everything is up for decluttering. And everything is up for reintroducing. So if you need to declutter your minimalism, declutter it. If you need to declutter your fantasy self because you can't afford it, okay, then declutter it. And when you can, bring it back. No shame. Like, it's not a no, it's just a not right now. And that's something that's really freed me, is my fantasy self is like a shirt. I can put it on and take it off, and that's fine. It's just, yeah. Okay, coming in at number 5. Do not feel guilty to shamelessly chase your fantasy self. And I think that the fantasy self is usually kind of used in the stereotypical definition of like luxury cars and giant mansions. Which, yeah, maybe that is what people are referring to when they talk about the fantasy self. Okay, fine. That is someone's fantasy self, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with pursuing that either if that is your vibe, the mansions and the car. But I also want to say, though, that everyone's dream self is different. Someone else's dream self is not my dream self. Your dream self is not mine, and mine is not yours. So I think that if you feel guilty to pursue it, don't. Just because somebody else wants to live a certain way doesn't mean you have to live that certain way. I think a good saying of this is like, just because you had to milk a cow to get milk doesn't mean your child needs to. So if it's your parents and your friends and they're feeling like, I don't understand why you need to live like that, I think you have to find strength and realize that live and let live. It's okay that others will not agree with you, just like they want to live their life a way that's different from you. Accept and respect. They're doing them and you love that for them, so do the same for you. Figure out what your dream self is and shamelessly pursue it. And if you're dealing with the guilt, like what would people say? Let's be real, we all gossip about each other. Whether you pursue your dream self or not, they're gonna gossip about you anyway. Whether it be they gossip about living like a hobo because you're an extreme minimalist, and how pitiful is that? Or they're gonna judge you for like, who does she think she is? Driving a luxury car and living in a mansion. How dare she? Does she think she's better than us? People are gonna gossip about you anyway. And I just want you to know that it's really none of your business what other people say about you. They gotta talk about somebody, because it's like, if they don't, who would listen to them talk? I know that's like so painful and so mean, but like when I decluttered my dream self and I tried to fit a small box hoping that it would make other people feel comfortable, nobody felt comfortable and people still kicked me around. Once I pursued my dream self shamelessly and decided that I'm actually going to other people's opinions and I'm gonna live my dream self and I'm ready to have everybody hate me, I found people like me more. I guess people felt like they respected me more for having the balls to pursue myself. 2 things that people were really against. Nobody wanted me to go to China for dental school. I didn't get much support for that. Another one was my lip filler. But I was like, yeah, no, I'm stubborn, I'm a mule, I'm gonna do what pleases me. And it's really paid off, because those are the things that make me really happy. So I think that don't feel guilty thinking that like you're doing other people a favor by acting small. Nobody wants to see you looking small. I'll be completely honest, we find it disgusting. You're actually better off relentlessly chasing your dreams. We find that much more enjoyable. It gets to a point where, honestly, those around you want the best for you. So if you were feeling guilty or feeling ashamed or thinking like, I'm making other people uncomfortable by chasing my dream self, you're actually not. You're making them uncomfortable with the way that you're living your life. So you're actually better off living your best life, because everyone loves that for them, because it'll inspire them as well too. So, and if they do decide to step on you while you're trying to chase your dream self, that's actually just them ashamed that you have the courage to do it. They don't have the courage to do it. So it was hard for me in the beginning too. When I started like putting on makeup and dressing nice, I was scared everyone was going to judge me, and people be like, oh, why are you so dressing? There have been times where people have made comments about it, but then shortly after I found them, they start doing the same too. So it was like, oh, I knew it. You just want it to be me. Okay, so coming in at number 6. Are you doing it for the Instagram? Are you doing it to live somebody else's dream? Or are you just living genuinely your own dream? So I think that, and we've probably left minimalism the topic at this point, but something that has helped me in chasing my fantasy self is kind of finding the nuance between, is it my fantasy self or am I doing this for the gram? And like, I'm only human, especially as a content creator. There's plenty of times I try to flex too with my social media. It's part of my job. Like, so the advice I could give is, and this is something I've had to do, is like reflect and is like, am I doing this for Instagram or am I doing this because it's genuinely like my dream life? So let's look at some things that are not part of my dream life to kind of illustrate or help you figure out aspects of that. I don't care for luxury cars. I never have. I don't see the point. I don't know. I grew up downtown. I saw luxury cars all the time. I was like, it's just a car. Like, who cares? So it's not a thing for me. But I understand that for some people, that's their dream self. And I think Stephen Graham and Mr. Money Stash are good examples of men who have pursued their dream self in that aspect. But essentially, they pretty much drove their dream cars for free. They found a secondhand version of it, or they saved up and they bought it, or they refurbished it, or they bought it on discount. So honestly, no one's saying that you can't live your life as a minimalist. Those two men are extremely frugal and are known for their frugal selves. I'm very frugal too, and I live my dream self. Yeah, the point I'm trying to say is that like, you can have your dream self if it's something that you've decided is for you, and if it's not for you, then let go of that. Like, I don't care for cars, so I let go of that. Love me my luxury purses. One of the favorite things minimalist women love to scapegoat in minimalism is their luxury purses. And I did that too. Threw my luxury purses in the trash. I threw these like Prada Saffiano bags in the trash because I was like, I want to be a good minimalist. I have like a whole, like, that whole thing is just filled with like luxury bags, replicas and real alike. And I was like, what's the point? Like, I'm just gonna live my dream life. Declutter it, bring it back, and just rinse and repeat. Because honestly, there's no shame in chasing your fantasy self if you've identified that it is the dream that you want for you. If you decided, hey, this is what I want and this is what makes me happy, why should you feel any shame in pursuing that? Don't listen to the jargon on minimalism where it's like, I finally decluttered my fantasy self. I don't go to galas, and so that's why I don't wear this dress and these heels. I just think it wasn't fantasy self necessarily. I just don't think you're like wearing heels and a dress. Like, if I'm being for real, you don't need to go to a gala to wear a dress and heels. I have dresses and I have heels. I've never been to a gala. My living room is the gala. I'm not going to listen to anyone. No one's going to stop me from living my dream self. I'm going to keep wearing my heels and my dress in my living room like the princess that I am. Princesses wear their dresses inside their castle. Like, that's... I don't need a gala to have permission to wear dresses and heels. And the second thing, and the last thing I want to say, the seventh thing, is minimalism is actually just a mask. So when I was really deep into, when I first got into like Buddhism in like 2020, one of the things that I learned is Buddhism is a mask, being a monk is a mask. Like, people are putting on a show when they are monks. I was like, oh shoot. Did you know that your minimalism is a mask? Did you know that you putting on a show of being a minimalist is another form of fantasy self? A lot of minimalists that you watch, the content they produce is staged. I used to watch this one minimalist who was an extreme minimalist, and she used to show these really aesthetic minimalism videos, and it was like extreme minimalism galore. I think all of her stuff fit in like a trunk, and I think I watched one of her videos and she was like, she actually showed everything she actually owned, and she was like, oh, I make these from these videos represent when I used to be an extreme minimalist. I'm not anymore. Here's actually all of my content. She showed rooms filled with like normal stuff, and I was like, what the hell? Y'all are freaking lying. So yeah, I don't know if like how deep you are in minimalism, but yeah, minimalism isn't really real either. It's also just a charade. It's a pretty show. Minimalism, especially the content, the minimalism you see on YouTube is a form of Hollywood. It is still production. Social media is still a form of Hollywood. You don't know to what extent it really is real, how much of it isn't really real. Once I realized minimalism was a mask, I was like, okay, well then can I wear that mask? Like, that's a prettier mask. So I think that's why I haven't really decluttered my fantasy self, because minimalism is a form of fantasy, is it not? Like, on a deeper, like on a real level, isn't minimalism also a mask? And since it's just a mask, then I was like, well, what the hell? Then I'm gonna wear it as a hat, and I'm gonna wear my fantasy as a mask. It doesn't change the Buddha nature. Underneath you're still the same. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if you wear this, you wear that, you do this, you do not do that. Like, that's something that's really freed me. The deeper I went into minimalism, the deeper I went into Buddhism, and then I realized that it was like, and let me share something with you. Minimalism aside, because you may not necessarily agree with the minimalism, you might be like, she's just spouting nonsense. Let's look at people who are more minimalistic than minimalists, and I would say those are monks. If you read a lot of like Buddhist script, some of the end game of Buddhism is actually to help you find peace in the void. So you can actually, one of the end stages of Buddhism is to be able to reintegrate back into society. A lot of monks, once they finish going through like the monk school, to just go back into society. A lot of monks, the final stages of it is to shed. Like if you're truly enlightened, and this is a koan, which is like a Zen quote or a Zen teaching. There's a monk and a teacher. And he was told that this monk used to be a monk and he's now just like a normal fisherman. He asked him this. He was like, what is Zen? He took off his coat. He's like, what is enlightenment? Put back on the coat. So you might be wondering, you're getting a little too deep for this. Like, I don't get where you're going with this. What I'm trying to tell you is that Zen taught me that everything is just a mask, including minimalism. And once I realized minimalism was a mask, well, if it's just a mask, then I'm going to wear it as a hat and I'm going to wear my fantasy self as a mask. Hope that you get enjoyed why I have not decluttered my fantasy self. This is just food for thought. You know, if you need to declutter your fantasy self, declutter it. It's not a big deal. And if you feel you want to embrace it, because yeah, life is really short.